It's my first time ever covering up fires.
I did this a couple of weeks ago when they had the one-in camera that has a fibre accessory.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like kicking back, having all the stories and all the stuff.
Yeah, right.
And it looks really because I was over every single word in my crosses because I was just like,
Yeah, like I did a cross before. I don't know. Terrifying.
and then I've got work calling through and they're like, how big is this one? What does it look like? Should we send something? And I'm like, I almost feel I reckon it means that I've got like a bird's eye view of every single fire situation.
Yeah.
No, it's on the different one. I'm just trying to set up my
Have you already done a pack?
Yes. Our reports are firefighters in the second emergency situation is east of Dunny
Do you have to go back up? Yeah. I was thinking about it. I was like, if I'm not bored, you know, 2 hours between.
Chill out, shake the breeze.
It's a lot of doing nothing and then a lot of doing everything.
Do you want to call WJ the Blaze is moving rapidly towards the town of Castile. Its residents there have been told to stay put and seek shelter where they are, have also told it's now too dangerous to leave this fire is burning. They have a really they have it on
So we want to put the marks down. Sorry, mate.
I need a box.
Is that any better, boys?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Is that all right? So make sure it's turned off so it doesn't annoy you. So it's going to really annoy you.
Okay, we're right to go. All right, well, good afternoon. As we speak, we've currently got 87 fires across New South Wales. 32 of those fires remain uncontained. We've got around 2,500 firefighters in the field. Many hundreds are currently deployed on fire grounds, and thousands are still on standby, ready to be deployed to key areas as the afternoon unfolds. Those 87 fires, we've got 4 at emergency warning alert status, 3 that you would be aware of, and 1 has just gone to emergency alert as we've walked in the room. The first of those is the Sir Ivan fire near Dunedoo, burning south and east of Dunedoo, across to the east towards towns like Cassilis. A number of emergency alerts have been issued to communities in and around affected areas for that fire, including leaving if you're south of that fire and heading down to Mudgee. If you're to the east of that fire, was heading towards Cassilis. Now we've updated those warnings. If you're between the fire and Cassilis, it's too late to leave, and we're asking you to stay in Cassilis. We've got firefighters and strike teams in the town of Cassilis, and we'll be working to defend the community of Cassilis this afternoon as that fire comes closer. We expect that either as it spreads easterly or indeed as it spreads further north under an expected southerly change later today, the community of Cassilis will come under direct threat. But we're confident with the firefighters and the breaks and the precautions that we're putting in and around that town that we will save and protect all that we can in the town. We've also issued an emergency alert on that fire for people to the east of Cassilis to head towards Merriwa, to leave and head towards Merriwa, and we will similarly look to serving containment and protection for people in the community of Merriwa later today as the fire continues to progress east and subject to what it does under the southerly change. It's burning very aggressively, it's got a significant head on it, and it continues to burn in that south-south easterly direction under strong westerly, northwesterly winds. The second area of emergency warning is the Papenbarra Road area, which is to the west of Wauchope. The message to the community there with the emergency alert has been to shelter in place. There are lots of fire trucks in and around the communities on the Papenbarra Road area, and firefighters will be talking to and working with local landholders in that community as the fire continues to develop and grow. The third area is Binalong Road or Binalong Road up near Boggabri in the northwest of the state. Similarly, we've issued an emergency alert to affected communities in the path of that fire. It's also being described as a fast-running, aggressively burning fire, quite volatile, and the message to those in the affected areas is, in the nature of the fire, is to actually seek shelter as the fire approaches. Lots of agricultural area, lots of irrigation, well-prepared and well-cleared properties in the main. We're working closely with that local community. Firefighters and aircraft are doing all they can. The latest fire that's just come in is a fire near Mudgee. It's known as the White Cedar Road Fire, Cairns Flat near Mudgee. It's being elevated to emergency warning alert status, and an emergency alert has been issued to affected communities in that area, similarly with the message to shelter in place. All the other fires are burning. We've got 9 other fires at Watch and Act alert status, and all the other fires are at a vice alert status at this stage. We have got reports across a number of the fire grounds, particularly those that are subject of emergency warning, that we are seeing property impacted, and we're expecting to see property lost. At this stage, we have got some unconfirmed reports of homes being lost, sheds being lost, and machinery being lost, and other agricultural assets being lost on some of these fire grounds. At this stage, we've got no reports of any serious injuries to either firefighters or members of the community. We are seeing right across the area lots of weather stations well and truly into the high levels of extreme fire danger rating, and quite a number tipping into catastrophic, up through the Upper Hunter, through the Central Ranges, and up through the Upper Central West Plains as well. It's been a difficult day to date. We've got many hours yet to go. We've got this southerly that's expected to move through much later this afternoon, anywhere from 5 to 8 o'clock across a lot of these fire grounds. So there's plenty of hours yet left for firefighters and those affected by these fires.
Can you tell us how many homes you believe have been lost and exactly where?
I can't give you that figure at this stage, but I have got indications that on the Boggabri fire there may be 1 home lost. On the fire near Dunedoo, there might be a number of homes lost or damaged. There are certainly sheds and outbuildings being described as being lost or destroyed, but I need to reiterate that as soon as it is safe and we are able to do so, we will have building impact assessment specialists entering these fire grounds on the ground and some aerial reconnaissance to try and get as much accurate information as we can to articulate the level of loss that might be occasioned by these fires.
We were told the west of Wauchope, the Port Macquarie fire, that up to 20 homes may be lost, 15 to 20. Is that the case? I've
certainly not got anything in that order. Up on the that's the Papenbarra Road fire. The best I've had indicated there might be some outbuildings, a few sheds. There was certainly a lot of homes, a lot of properties in the path of that fire, and fire trucks and firefighters were positioned in and around a lot of those properties, and I would suggest the figure there would be 15 to 20 properties that might be under threat, which is where our firefighters are, but I've not certainly heard anything in the order of that sort of loss.
So certainly under threat.
There were reports of a firefighter being taken from that fire ground for smoke inhalation. Can you confirm that?
Yes, I can. We have got reports across a number of fire grounds where firefighters are having heat stress, heat-related issues. At this stage, our treatment has been on-site treatment taken away from the fire ground. They may get triaged or support by ambulance, but fortunately at this stage we've not got any reports of hospitalisation.
Do you believe that any of these fires are deliberately lit?
No, not at this stage. I don't have any indication of that at all.
There have been, sorry. I was going to say, there have been 2 arrests. There was an arrest on the Central Coast, a gentleman allegedly lit a fire up there. There was an arrest yesterday, a teenager allegedly lit a fire in Orange. But what would you say to people who might think that's a bit of a funny thing to do, a bit of a stunt? What message would you like to deliver?
Oh, look, we go through this all the time. How dare they? How dare you? It's a criminal act. It's a dangerous act. You put the lives at risk of our firefighters, the vast majority of whom are out there doing it for free, simply to make a difference and protect their local community. How dare anybody add to the extraordinary conditions that we're experiencing today? We've got enough fire on the ground that comes about through natural causes or accidental causes. The last thing we need is this heinous crime being executed anywhere across our landscape. It doesn't surprise me at all that the police have been proactive, have acted swiftly and decisively, and I'm pleased to hear that they've been able to arrest and charge perpetrators of this awful crime. We've got the toughest penalties available in the country, and our hope is that anyone caught undertaking this sort of criminal act, the full weight of the law comes down upon them, no matter who they are.
So do you think the southerly, when it comes through, will exacerbate conditions?
Southerly changes always present significant challenges and significant dangers for firefighters and those that are in and around fire-affected areas. The real challenge is, as we're seeing, for example, on this fire near Dunedoo, it's now spread in a very long, elongated shape over many, many kilometres, tens of kilometres. The main head of the fire is burning very intensely over to the eastern side, but when a southerly change comes in, what is typically the benign flank of the fire becomes a 10, 20, 30 kilometre new fire front. History will show that those fire fronts, the area on the northern side of a long spread out fire, is what we used to refer to as the dead man zone. That's where we used to lose firefighters when southerly changes came in, because fire flanks became very aggressive, very fast moving, unpredictable fire fronts that often consumed firefighters that were working on the flanks. It is a very dangerous, it is a very volatile time for firefighters. Our safety messages are clear, our learnings and our training is such that we minimise the risk, but we cannot underestimate the risk and the implication of a southerly change moving through a fire-affected area. It's extremely volatile. We see increased wind strengths, we see very erratic and dangerous fire behaviour, we see spotting activity going in all sorts of directions, we see fire flanks flaring up in different directions, and invariably, just as the front's approaching, we see the northwesterly winds strengthen enormously before we go into this very turbulent and unsettled phase, before the southerly kicks in and starts driving all those flanks in a northerly direction. It's a very dangerous, very volatile environment, and we're acutely aware of that risk as we see this pretty significant front that's moving across New South Wales later today.
You were extremely concerned about today in the lead-up, and it was likened to the same conditions that we saw under Black Saturday in Victoria. Obviously, it's not over yet, but you must be very pleased. We haven't seen any deaths and obviously some homes lost, but you must be pleased with how it's going so far.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the absolute priority, not to have any serious injury or any serious death, and thus far we're doing well on that front. But you're right, we've got a long way to go. We've got many hours yet of the peak of these weather conditions to get through, and we've also got a southerly change that's moving through that's likely to bring lots of instability. There is even the prospect of thunderstorm activity, lightning activity, starting new fires in addition to what we might have already burning and impacted by the southerly change. We cannot overestimate, though, the potential for the hours ahead of us through this afternoon and into tonight.
Is this the worst day we've seen this fire season, condition-wise?
This is the worst day we've seen in the history of New South Wales when it comes to fire danger ratings and fire danger conditions. The related fire behaviour and fire activity is what you would expect under those sorts of conditions, and our firefighters and the affected communities are responding tremendously well.
So apart from, in terms of the emergency declarations, everybody should stay put, apart from in the Dunedoo fire, anyone east of Cassillis evacuates to Merriwa. Is that correct?
That's correct. The other emergency warnings, because of the proximity of the fire to people likely to be impacted by the fire, it is too late and too dangerous to leave. That's why the messages are to shelter in place as the fire approaches. We have got some time to the east of Cassilis to get people in at-risk areas to move to a safer place, Merriwa, which is the instruction that we've given to people in that affected area.
Do you have any evacuation centres set up?
Yes, there are a number of those set up in key towns, and they're available on our website. I just don't have the list of them in front of me.
And have you got enough firefighters on the ground? You're calling in firefighters from other states. You did suggest that might be necessary.
No, we're not at this stage. We've got, as I say, thousands of firefighters strategically located around the most at-risk areas. I've had discussions with my colleagues interstate, Commissioner Carroll in Queensland, Commissioner Lane in the ACT, and Commissioner Lapsley in Victoria. We've got a lot of capacity in reserve so that if we start drawing down on firefighters anywhere around New South Wales, interstate firefighters will be able to move just as quickly to backfill any gaps that are created by our firefighter movements.
Can you tell us with the Pappen Borough, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, you were saying before that you don't believe that homes are under threat now, is that right? Or
No, not at all, not at all. The point I was making was I've not got reports of any significant home losses in that fire, but there are a number of homes under threat. That's why we've elevated that fire to emergency warning alert status, and that's why we've issued the emergency alert telephone system to people in that area. Homes are under threat, and our advice is that you will need to shelter in place as fire approaches. It is too late and too dangerous to leave.
When are we going to get confirmation of homes, actual homes lost?
I can't tell you that at this stage. We will seek to we've got people positioned in Mudgee ready to move into the area of Dunedoo, but we will not be putting people into hostile, dangerous environments. Once it settles and it is safe to do so, we will have those teams in and on the ground to start doing the assessments. We may have something this evening. More than likely we'll start getting clearer indications tomorrow morning.
And just to clarify, so Dunedoo, we were told earlier, up to 20 homes under threat, so that is still correct?
Oh, look, I suspect that that fire, the Sir Ivan Road fire that's burning east of Dunedoo, there are a lot more than 20 homes and properties under threat from that fire. It is tens of kilometres now to the east of Dunedoo. It's traversing a pretty significant area of the landscape, and every time we're issuing and updating emergency alerts, it's because it's starting to impact on new settlements, new properties, new homes in its path.
Are we talking dozens? Are we talking hundreds?
We would be talking dozens of properties at this stage that fire has had a direct threat towards.
What areas of New South Wales will be most impacted by the southerly change?
The southerly change already has brought some relief to southern areas of New South Wales. It's pretty much stalling through the centre of the state at the moment. It's not expected to get up through some of these fire-affected areas until much later this afternoon. It is a bit fluid, but the indications I've got are anywhere from about 5 p.m. tonight through to 8 or 9 o'clock tonight across some of these fire grounds, and that's what we're going to have to wait and see how the passage of the front move through this afternoon.
If everyone's happy, we might wrap it up there.
Thank you.